Hey guys, Ecto here, and welcome to Firework Crate. This is what it looks like. It will have start round, 2 modifiers, and when you've played before, you have 2 little notes in the bottom corners for your best hand and your high score. So, this is before the game has started, and we'll be playing a game that is similar to Hanabi and similar to Balatro, if you know both of those. We're going to be using Hanabi cards in a game style similar to Balatro, if that makes sense. Our goal is to earn 150 chips within 1 deck of cards. The deck without any modifiers contains 5 suits: red, yellow, green, blue, purple, and each one has 10 cards of different numbers. When a modifier is taken, it adds or removes a suit using the modifiers. And the way to discard cards, you can't just discard what you want, you have to discard by cluing, similar to Hanabi, I think. A clue discards all applicable cards in your hand, and you could clue the suit, aka the symbol, or the rank, the number. To submit a clue, tap the other corner, so bottom left or bottom right, and then the other one. And as it says here, once you start a clue, you can't stop it until you play your current hand. The aim is, of course, to get to 150 chips by figuring out when to cut your losses. You only get 4 clues at the beginning, again, and you play, so choose wisely whether you discard cards or you go with what you have. It will tell you if you haven't got any discards you're allowed to use. So, these are all the hands you can possibly get. Of course, getting hands like straight flush, flush 5, and 5 5s, which is described here, will immediately solve it for you, roughly. I'll explain that as basically, the numbers here might not correspond to what numbers you actually get. It just depends on what the deck is, I think. They might change what the numbers are slightly. So, you can also see on these modifiers, all of which are described here, have some notes on them. So in this case, if we look at Cocoa Rainbow, we have SOM. That means only 1 copy of each card is in the deck, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only appears once, I think that means. Yeah, I think that is what it means. Numberless suit, no number clues apply to this suit, so they don't get discarded on number clues. And M, multicolour suit, all colour clues apply to this suit, meaning any colour clue, it will get discarded. So a card can either just be a normal card, or it can be numberless, or colourless, or apply to every number or every suit. So be careful with that when you're discarding and using cards. I might try and explain these at the end, but we'll see. I will point out, though, a very specific one, Riffraff. This is an expert condition. Riffraff has 2 to 6 random other modifiers, any of these modifiers, at the same time. Which you can actually see here. In your high score, if you played it on Riffraff, it will list all of the conditions and you're playing it on Riffraff. That is the only one that will do this, and it's the only one that's expert. And if we look up here, expert modifiers does not add a suit, but it increases required chips by 75. So instead of getting 100, you had to get 225. So let's now finally get started. I enjoy using the Cocoa Rainbow one because you get points for discarding cards, so that's at least useful when you're discarding cards you don't get anything. So let's use that one and start the round. You can turn on both modifiers, or just one, or none. You don't have to use any of them if you don't want to. So now we have our hand, and this actually is a quite good hand to begin with. We don't really need to discard anything. This is a full house. So if we press up here, we get scored for a full house. This one could be better. Let's clue the red suit to possibly try and get a 4. Yeah, there we go there, and you saw we got some points there for discarding, and now we now have a straight. Not a straight, what was it called? It is a straight, sorry about that. It is a straight, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put it over here, straight, we get some points. We're now on 63 points. Got 3 of a kind there. We could try and discard one of these cards to try and get a full house again. It would be more points. Let's try that. Let's clue 4. We get another 4 back. We can clue that again if we want. Okay, now we have a full house. And you saw we got points again. Full house. We're now on 87. And the number in the middle is how many cards you have left in the deck. We got 2 pairs there. Let's try and get another flush there. Not a flush. Full house. Clue 2. And the number in the middle will tell you how many clues you have left. Got full house there again. 109 points. There's the chocolate rainbow card there. We have a full house there. That's decent. That's a good hand as well. So let's use that. We've got straight. We can use that. And we get a module. And the module sells, but you can carry on playing. This module, I'm pretty sure, does not strike, and you can carry on playing after the module is solved. So we can carry on here. Again, here we can go for this, and just try and get a high score. Clue 3. As you can see, the number in the middle we have 6 because we gained 2 clues from not discarding anything. We have full house there. Go there. We're going to get down to a point where we can't get any more cards. There. And as soon as we run out of sets of 5, we go back to this screen and you can carry on playing with new modifiers as well. Let's do another example. So in this case we have light pink and dark pink. Light pink. Each used light pink gives chips equal to 5 times the number of light pink you had. That's actually a really nice one. I'm going to use that one. And note that this one applies to every number but none of the colours. Dark pink. Each discarded is worth plus X.1. So 1 point. Each discard is worth plus 0.1. If you had 2, you'd earn 2.1. Or 1.2 even. I'm just talking today. I'm not going to go with that one though. Let's go with light pink and then do that. Do you know with the light pink one, the cards have to be used light pink cards. So in this case, the pink is not currently being used. But if you remember, light pinks apply to every number, but not every colour. So let's clue green. As you can see, we kept the pink card there. We can't really do anything here. Let's cut losses and do that. Okay, the pink is being used now. Let's clue blue to see if we can get a straight. Purple. That still works. Again, a nice score there, because we had 3 pinks there. Again, one of the pinks is being used here. And there's 2 there, so we get 10 extra points for that. On top of the 3 of a kind, that seems good. We could aim for a straight again here. There's clue purple. Clue yellow. And we can't really do anything from here. Let's Carlos and go for that. There's straight. That's brilliant to see a straight there. 3 of a kind's pretty good as well. Let's clue purple and see if we can get any more. No, let's go for 3 kind then. Get 17 points there. Got pair. So let's clue red and see if we can get it straight. Red again. Red again. No, get pair. Get full house. And we get a 3 of a kind, which is going to solve it, I think. Again, that's a module. And that is 2 self-modules of Firework Crate. So, before I finish off, I'm going to try and go through each of these and explain as best I can which of these means. Anti-red. 5's used in scoring hands adds 15 chips, that's quite simple. If your scoring hand has a 5 in it, you get 15 extra. Anti-yellow multiplies the chip value of all straight hands by 1.2. If you get straight, you get 1.2 the amount of chips, rather than a normal straight. Hands containing pairs, for anti-green, hands containing pairs are worth 5 more chips, meaning you get 5 more chips for having pairs. Anti-blue multiplies the chip value of all full houses, so the same as the anti-yellow one but for full houses. Anti-purple, 3s are considered all suits for purposes of flushes. Flushes, of course, are 5 cards of the same suit. So 3s are if you have a 3 of a different colour, but everything else is the same colour, that still counts. Teal multiplies the chip value of all flush hands by 1.2, so similar to these two. Black used in scoring has add 10 chips, so just using a black card gives you 10 extra chips, similar to like pink. But instead of, it gives a fixed 10 rather than 5 times the amount of like pinks. Rainbow are considered all colours for the purposes of flushes, so similar to 3s here. Brown multiplies the chip value, so again, 3 of a kind by 1.3, of course, 3 of a kind. Whites are ignored for flushes, so in this case, whites are ignored for flushes, so be careful with that one, that's sort of a detrimental one. Flushes don't count if one of them is white, basically. Pink, each pink in a pair in your hand multiplies the unchips by 1.5. Pretty self-explanatory, that one. Each use Omni multiplies the unchips by, again, self-explanatory, used, remember, meaning it has to be a part of one of the constituent cards of the hand. So a pair, it has to be one of the pair. Muddy Rainbows that aren't used multiply the unchips by 2. In this case, if you don't use Muddy Rainbows, so basically the opposite of Omnis, if you don't use Muddy Rainbows, you multiply the unchips by 2. Light pink is what we had. Null, if your hand contains exactly 1 null, gain a clue while playing it, meaning you'll get 2 clues if your hand has 1 null in it. Dark Rainbow, the next card of the deck is always shown. So Dark Rainbow, you can see what the next card's going to be. So that's a pretty useful one. Dark Brown, straights only require 4 cards. So if you get Dark Brown and white here, then that doesn't cause a problem. And this is very helpful because then you only need 4 the cards to line up in that case. So again, very useful one there. Grey, flushes only require 4 cards, so similar to straights, you only need 4 of the cards to match the condition. Dark pink we saw. So in this case, this means 1 plus that many times 0.1. Dark Omni is if this card is the same as the last. If this card is the same, I think it's meant to say. If this card is the same as the last, we'll make the end chips by 0.5 rate of your streak. Code Rainbow, we had every card you discard gives you 2. Grey Pink is sort of the opposite. If you have no discards, multiply the earned chips by 2. Dark Null, the first time you play your hand, multiply the chip by 0.25, 2.5, if not earn no chips. This is a very tough one. You can only play every type of hand once, and you get 2.5 for each one. So as soon as you've played a 2-pair, you cannot play a 2-pair anymore. Risky Dice. All 10 risky dice cards are 6s, straight to account for this, so instead of and only get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with a risky dice card. And then the one I mentioned, Riffraff, this is 2 to 6 of the following. Let's see if I can actually generate a Riffraff here, because it has a special animation with it as well. There's like a few more of these. See if we can get one with a Riffraff on it. Not there. Riffraff. No. You get to see some of the modifiers look like when they appear. Okay, here we go. Riffraff. You can tell because it has the Joker heads, similar to Balatro. Don't know if that's a Joker. It probably is. And let's see what happens.
Let's make some noise! Rainbow! Black! Dark rainbow!
So you can see we got, for example, rainbow, dark rainbow, and black. So in this case, we would black's using the scoring has as 10 chips. Rainbows are considered all colours for the person's flushes, and the next card is always shown. It's nice to show this one because that is very helpful to see. So since we can see the next card is going to be a purple 4, we can use that accordingly. But that was Firework, right? You can play around with all the modifiers as much as you want, but hopefully I've explained how roughly it works well enough. Hopefully you understand how Firework Crate works. And I see you guys in the next tutorial. I see you later.